The empty Montana highway at night is a lonely place. Just the ribbon of asphalt cutting through an ocean of darkness, the hum of your engine the only thing keeping the silence at bay. I was heading to visit an old friend, a long drive, but a simple one. That's what I thought. Anyway, my GPS had been reliable the whole way, a calm, reassuring voice guiding me through the wilderness. Then, it flickered. The screen went blank for a second before a new route appeared. The destination had changed. Ash Hollow, red, population, active. I'd never heard of it. A quick search on my phone while I still had a sliver of signal told me all I needed to know. Ash Hollow was a ghost town. It had burned to the ground in 1924. There was nothing left. A glitch, I figured. Just a strange software bug. I tried to reset the route, but the GPS was stuck. No signal. I was flying blind. My eyes flicked to the gas gauge. That's when the first real spike of fear hit me. The tank had been full when I left Billings. Now it was reading half empty. Impossible. I hadn't been driving nearly long enough for that. I fiddled with the radio, hoping for a local station, a weather report, anything. All I got was static. Then, music, faint at first, then clearer. It was jazz. Old-timey, scratchy jazz from a bygone era. The kind you hear in old black and white movies. A knot tightened in my stomach. This wasn't right. Up ahead, my headlights caught something on the side of the road. A sign, a big, wooden, hand-carved sign. The kind of thing you'd see at the entrance to a national park. Weathered and old. It said, "Welcome back to Ash Hollow. Welcome back." I'd never been here in my life. I slowed the car to a crawl, peering into the darkness beyond the sign. And then I saw it. The town. It shouldn't have been there, but it was. It looked like a film set, perfectly preserved. Vintage cars, the kind with running boards and big, round fenders, were parked along the street. Old-fashioned street lamps cast a dim, sickly yellow glow over everything, and there were people, figures strolled along the sidewalks, men in fedoras and women in long dresses, but something was wrong with the way they moved. It was delayed, like watching a video that's struggling to buffer. Their steps were just a fraction of a second too slow, their gestures lagging behind reality, and their eyes. As I drove past, I realized none of them were blinking. They just stared ahead with a glassy, vacant look. The whole scene felt like a dream, a hazy, unsettling nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Against every instinct screaming at me to turn around, I parked the car. Maybe it was the dangerously low gas. Maybe it was a morbid curiosity I couldn't fight. I saw a diner, its neon sign buzzing weakly, spelling out "Eat." Seemed like as good a place as any to ask for directions, to figure out what was going on. The moment I pushed the door open, a little bell chiming above my head, the place went silent. Every single person inside, the cook behind the counter, the patrons in the booths froze. They turned their heads to look at me, all at once. The movement was jerky, unnatural. The air grew thick, heavy. A waitress with pin-curled hair and a starched white apron looked at me, her face a mask of mild surprise. She spoke, her voice calm and clear, cutting through the silence. "You're early," she said. "You weren't supposed to return until tomorrow." My heart was hammering against my ribs. Return? I've never been here before. My GPS must have malfunctioned. Can you tell me what year this is? The question sounded absurd as soon as it left my lips, but it was the only thing I could think to ask. A strange, faint smile touched the waitress's lips. And then, something truly terrifying happened. Everyone in the diner, every single person, answered me at the same time. Their voices blended into a single, hollow chorus that echoed in the small space. 1924. My blood ran cold. I fumbled for my phone, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I pulled up the home screen. The date displayed under the clock wasn't today's date. It read, October 12, 1924. And then, as if to punctuate the horror, the battery icon flashed red and dropped to 1% before the screen went black. A strange smell started to fill the air. Acrid smoke. I looked out the diner window, and my stomach dropped. The buildings across the street, they were smoldering. Wisps of smoke curled from the rooftops and window frames, glowing embers dancing in the dark. The town was burning, but it was happening in eerie silence. No sirens, no crackle of flames, no one shouting. The people outside continued their slow, disconnected walk, completely ignoring the fact that their world was on fire. They just kept moving, their faces blank, as if this was perfectly normal. The terror was suffocating. I needed to get out. As I turned to leave, my eyes caught a newspaper lying on an empty table. The headline was stark, printed in bold black letters. Local man dies in highway accident, body never recovered. Underneath the headline was a photograph. A grainy black and white photo of a man. It was me. The date on the newspaper was October 11th, yesterday, Just as that impossible truth settled in, a familiar synthesized voice spoke from my pocket. It was my phone, the GPS app somehow activating on its own, its battery miraculously alive for one final, chilling message. Route completed. The sound made everyone in the diner turn toward me again. But this time, their faces were different. The skin was peeling back, charred and blackened. Their eyes were wide, their mouths open in silent screams, frozen expressions of agony from a fire that happened a century ago. They were the ghosts of the fire, and I was somehow part of their story. I didn't wait for another word. I bolted out of the diner, my lungs burning, not just from the smoke but from sheer panic. The town was now fully engaged in its ghostly reenactment. The fire wasn't just smoke anymore. Slow-motion flames licked up the sides of the wooden buildings. Ash, thick as snow, began to fall from the sky, coating everything in a gray shroud. I sprinted toward my car, fumbling for my keys. The town was a living hell, a loop of its final moments playing out forever. I had to get back to the highway. That was my only hope. I threw myself into the driver's seat, jammed the key in the ignition, and slammed my foot on the gas. The car fishtailed on the ash-covered street before shooting forward. I didn't look back. I just drove, desperate to find the edge of town, to see that dark, empty highway again. The streetlights and burning buildings blurred into a smear of yellow and orange. And then, I saw it, the two-lane road stretching into the darkness. Freedom. I sped onto the highway, relief washing over me for a fleeting second. But the road began to curve. The trees thinned out, and up ahead, I saw the dim, yellow glow of street lamps. I saw the old-fashioned cars, the burning buildings, the wooden sign, "Welcome back to Ash Hollow." It wasn't a highway out. It was a loop, a trap. There was no escape. Miles away, and a century later, a Montana Highway Patrol officer pulled his cruiser over to the shoulder. A car was parked there, abandoned. Its engine was still warm. Inside, the cabin was empty, a faint smell of smoke hanging in the air. The officer shone his flashlight around, keys in the ignition, a phone lying dark on the passenger seat. He was about to call it in when the phone's screen suddenly flickered to life, its glow casting a ghostly light in the car. On the screen was a map, and two words, welcoming and final. Welcome back. Thank you for watching. If this story sent a chill down your spine, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another journey into the unknown.